Like the great show for us today. So let's go and get right into it, guys. Like I said, the impact that Caitlin Clark is going to have on the WNBA is non-pareil, and you can look no further by than just on our show. Look, we are leading out the show by talking about the WNBA, and that's not something we've done since August, September, when the WNBA playoffs were going on, and it's no question that the impact that Caitlin Clark has had on the WNBA since being drafted a little over a month ago is astronomical. Listen, since Caitlin Clark has been drafted in the WNBA, the Indiana Fever have sold out all their home games. League pass purchases for the WNBA have increased by 60% compared to last year. And the Dallas Wings, another WNBA team, had to change locations for their home games to the Dallas Mavericks Arena, the American Airlines Arena. And the biggest impact that Caitlin Clark has had so far, without even stepping foot on a WNBA court for a regular season game, is that now for this season, the WNBA will have chartered private planes for all road teams on their away trips. And as you guys know, that was a huge point of contention the past couple of years within the WNBA, because most WNBA teams would have to fly commercial on public airlines. And that was a big issue for people that were fans of the WNBA, by saying that the players deserve better treatment and it deserved better travel arrangements. But however, if you're a business acumen, you understand that you get what your value is. If you generate more money, then you're able to get more accessories. You're able to get more benefits, and it's strictly business at that point. But this is going to be a huge moment for the WNBA, a new era for the WNBA, and it's prudent that the WNBA maximizes off this branding, off of this storm, this storm of publicity that they're getting. And if you notice, the WNBA has been very meticulous, very peculiar in how they're marketing this new talent of WNBA players. If you notice with this generation, or this draft class of WNBA players, they're very intentional about making them look more quote unquote appealing and quote unquote more feminine in the commercials and in their advertisements compared to that of previous years. And that is because the WNBA, I believe, has picked up on something, and that is that the large majority of people that watch the WNBA are actually not women. They're actually men. And I believe the WNBA is starting to market more towards the larger audience, and that's men. And that's just something I noticed with the way they're marketing this new wave, this new talent of WNBA players that's coming in. And one of the reasons that the WNBA was not able to generate a large audience was because, in terms of going to the games, it's hard to get a family audience at the WNBA games because of the demographic that tends to be at those games. For the most part, a large portion of families, and I guess you could say parents, don't particularly want to be surrounded or be in that sort of environment that are surrounded by that demographic that tends to frequent and be at those WNBA games. That's for ticket sales. And in terms of the streaming and watching WNBA games, the largest audience that watches WNBA games are men. And if you poll most men don't want to watch the women play. And it's unfortunate because there's so much talent in the WNBA. Like I always say, this is the most talent that's been in the WNBA since its inception. And at first, people were saying, well, the WNBA needs to market more towards women because that's who it's geared to. That's what it's made for. And you could say that in a sense, but however, you have to understand, no matter what you put out, who's going to be watching it, and you have to placate towards that. And the WNBA has realized that a large majority of their audience, even at this point of its inception, is men, and so they're going to gear towards that by making it more appealing to men. And whether that's right or wrong is just what it is. But true basketball fans and true viewers of the game will understand that no matter what you say about the marketing, no matter what you say about the analytics and whether they deserve the money or not, or more money, more revenue, no matter what you say, true viewers and true fans and lovers of the game of basketball will tell you that this is the most talent that's been in the WNBA since its inception. And that is the reason why the WNBA is in a great space. Not because of potential viewerships and potential marketing campaigns and things of that nature, though those are positive things as well, because it will lead to more revenue, more money generated for the league. This is a great space for the WNBA because of the talent that's in it. And and this generated revenue will lead to expansion. It will lead to more roster spots for WNBA players. So this is a great space for the WNBA, however you want to look at it. And it will be nice to see a new direction that the WNBA is going in and moving towards. And the WNBA would bode itself well to play into the dynamic of Caitlin Clark being the face of the league. And I know a lot of, especially WNBA players, they might feel a certain type of way about that, but at the end of the day, you have to do what's going to make money because it's a business. And if Caitlin Clark is going to be what generates the most revenue for the WNBA, you have to do that. But as you guys know, the Indiana Fever, they opened up against the Connecticut Sun. The Connecticut Sun made it to the WNBA semifinals last year, and obviously they're led by Dwana Bonner and Alyssa Thomas, and Bree Jones will be back as well. She's healthy. You guys know she missed the playoffs last year with a foot injury. They also brought in Mariah Jefferson. They still have Tiffany Mitchell as well. They also have Olivia Nelson-Ododa as well returning. So the Connecticut Sun are going to be one of the best teams in the WNBA this year. And Indiana Fever are a young team led by Leah Boston and Caitlin Clark, and I said Lexi Hull. And they also drafted Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, Celeste Taylor. So there's a lot of young talent on that Indiana Fever team. How quickly they can create chemistry together and be more efficient on the defensive end compared to last year, that remains to be seen. I don't see them making the playoffs this year, but they're going to be an exciting team to watch this year, especially with the pick and roll action of Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston. But let me know what you guys think about this new era of the WNBA that's going to be ushered in today. And obviously, we're just trying to stick on a two-dimensional level right here. We won't get too deep into it on a three-dimensional level because that's a whole different conversation that we'll discuss on our Patreon channel. But guys, in our next segment, we're going to be discussing, like I said, the Game 4 matchups between the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves, along with the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks. So be sure to stick around for that, guys. You're not going to miss it. We'll be right back.